works right now. This is what it's like filming on Juneteenth Part 2. Speaking of which, happy Juneteenth Part 2. Filming on the night of Juneteenth Part 2 is going to be interesting. This is for me, not you. I'm sorry. You can sniff it, but it's mine. I'm drinking my grandma's favorite beer tonight, which is Miller Lite. Love it. Refreshing. Tonight's spooky scary Reddit thread is inspired by a subscriber's story, which was emailed to me about a week ago. Thank you so much, Kaylee, for sending me your story. Cheers to you. Like, genuinely, truly appreciate you. Let me set the scene for you. I was laying in bed. It was around like, I don't even know, midnight maybe, and I had my rain noises playing in the background. I was scrolling through Reddit and Twitter, and all of a sudden I get an email notification, and it's a story. My heart about jumped out of my chest. So Kaylee, I appreciate you. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. And if you have your own spooky, scary story like Kaylee's that you would like for me to read in a future video, for me to share, don't forget to email this email right here, which is also available in the description down below, as well as my social medias if you want to give me a follow on those. Many years ago, I was a freshman in high school and loved goats. They were my favorite animal, and I loved everything that had to do with them. I also had just unexpectedly lost my dad and was trying to help out my grieving mom. I'm sorry for your loss. Funeral costs were high. Bills he usually paid were now her responsibility, and on top of everything, she had also lost her job. I had just turned 14, and that is the age you can start working in my state. I filed work permits and started searching for a job. However, no one wanted to hire an inexperienced 14-year-old, so the job search was proving to be very hard until I saw a new store near our apartment. I won't say the store name for privacy reasons, but it had the word goat in the name, and their logo was a goat. See, my 14-year-old self would have taken that as a sign. Thinking back to the days where my frontal lobe wasn't fully developed, like, stresses me out. I went in to see what it was, but the store was empty. Shelves lined up with a few metal tumblers and pens scattered on them. A second later, a man came out from the back and introduced himself. He was the owner. I told him I was just curious of the store because I really liked goats, and I asked him what they sold. He said they were a promotional products store, and they printed logos on things for companies to give out. We talked a little more, and he actually brought up the idea of me working there before I had the chance to ask. I was confused on what promotional products were and expected it to be a very boring job. But I was so excited to finally find a job that I immediately accepted. Plus, it was within walking distance from where I lived, and it had goats. I'm still confused on why they had goats to this day. Nothing that they had or did remotely related to the animal. I worked there for a couple of shifts and noticed some weird things, but I thought that's how having a boss was because I didn't know any better. For example, he would have me do things like plant flowers outside the store, reorganize the shelves, etc. He would always sit behind me the entire time, just watching me. It seemed weird that he didn't have any work to do, and that he was so closely watching me and what I was doing. I was a hard worker and doing things the right way. He also did other things that I found weird, like always stood very close to me while we were talking. I hate when people do that. Like, give me my space. And once he drove with me in his passenger seat to pick up something from a store, and he smoked a cigar with the windows rolled up the entire way. I had asthma and was clearly wheezing, but he made sense to me that there would be one. I said okay, and I followed him to the basement, brushing off the fact that he was being weirder than normal, and the fact that he was acting very shy. However, as I followed him into the basement, my eyes adjusted to the very dim light. I realized the basement was just a small cinder block and concrete room with a single bed in it. No, and finally my gut feeling was so strong that I couldn't ignore it anymore. Yes, and I knew I needed out of that place. I told him that I forgot something upstairs and that I'd be back in a second. I went upstairs and walked out of the store and then ran straight home. I never went back, and I never talked to him again. I'm not sure what was going to happen, but there was no laser. The worst part was that I left before I got my first paycheck, and I was too scared to go back and ask for it. So I had done all that work for free. Thanks for all you do. See, first of all, I'm so happy you're safe. I'm so happy you're safe and that you listened to your gut instincts. Always listen to your gut instincts. Always, 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 always. Second of all, you deserve $1 million of compensation. But also, follow-up question, do we know how much your first paycheck would have been? Again, you just deserve $1 million, because fuck that. And thanks again for sharing. Like I said earlier, Kaylee's story inspired tonight's spooky, creepy Reddit thread, which is the best let's not meet stories. I specifically searched on Google the best let's not meet stories, so let's get into it. The first one is called I Don't Hitchhike Anymore. When I was 17, I didn't have a driver's license. In fact, I was 36 before I did. I walked to most places, occasionally catching rides with friends and less occasionally hitchhiking. The night in question was one of those seldom seen occasions when I decided to hitchhike, having worked late and being too exhausted to walk. Now, most of the time, when I hitch a ride, I wouldn't get into a car with a lone man. Only women, or rarely men with a wife/girlfriend or kids in the car. This night, though, cars were few and far between, and it was cold, and really, if I'm being perfectly frank, when he pulled over, I took a good look and figured I could take him if he tried anything. He was on the slender side and had a strange frailness about him, even though he looked healthy enough. I got into the car after we agreed on a destination. We exchanged names, and I warmed my fingers in front of the heater. He spoke quietly, asking a few questions along the lines of, was I a local, and how did I like living here? He said he'd only been there a couple months, but found it beautiful and hoped he could find happiness there. That comment struck me as a little odd, but I brushed it off. It began to snow and the road quickly got slippery, so he slowed and kept his eyes straight out the window shield. So he slowed and kept his eyes straight out the windshield, driving silently. I was okay with that, as small talk was never my forte. About 10 minutes later, I noticed a car near the intersection we were approaching seemed to be sliding. So I said, watch out, and he immediately hit the gas, shooting through the intersection, and burst out, don't ever scream at me. Needless to say, I was taken aback. I said, look, this is close enough, just pull over here, and I can get there. He didn't seem to hear me. Richard, did you hear me? I said you can pull over and let me out. No response. He just steered straight ahead, driving faster now. Then listening to you now. Do you hear that? I was at a complete loss. I didn't know what to say in response, or if I should say anything at all. I contemplated just jumping out of the car, but nixed that idea when I realized the door lock was missing. There was just a silver-lined hole where it should have been. I'd started to cry and debate with myself about causing an accident by grabbing the wheel and hoping for the best. At least I figured there was a chance I'd survive that, when he suddenly looked at me for the first time since I'd gotten into the car. He blinked several times rapidly, then slowed the car, pulling into a gas station. I'd waited to see if he'd unlock the doors, not wanting to say anything to set him off again. After a minute or two, he quietly said, "I think I better let you out here," and hit the button to open the locks. I wasn't about to hesitate. I jumped out the car as if it were on fire. I was about to turn and walk into the gas station when he called my name. He looked so damned sad. I hesitated. He apologized, said he was sorry if he'd frightened me. He said that he would have never harmed me and asked if I would be able to get home okay. I said I would and closed the door. He began to pull out of the gas station lot but stopped suddenly. He just sat there for a couple of moments, his head down. I froze, wondering what the hell he was up to, and was about to run into the station, but he opened his window and yelled to me, waving something in his hand. My hat. I'd left it on his seat. I wearily approached his side of the car, and he handed it to me, apologizing again. I didn't know what else to say, so I just said thanks. I watched as he drove off, making sure he was out of sight before moving on so I wouldn't know which direction I was heading. I decided to go to a friend's instead of home. As I walked, I put my hat back. On, and out fell a piece of paper. Folded into the paper was a $100 bill. The paper said, "I'm sorry, please take a cab and don't hitchhike anymore tonight." I didn't. In fact, it was the last time I hitched a ride alone. Oh my goodness. No. Hitchhiking is so dangerous, never fucking do it. Don't do it. I feel like I'm slapping you on the wrist and I'm your mom. Don't ever fucking do that. Do you hear me? The next story says, this happened to my parents back in the late 80s. They were in their mid-20s when this all occurred. My parents decided to go camping in Cool, California. Like, that's the place. It's called Cool, California. That's kind of cool. When they got there, it was kind of late. My mom was sitting down on a log while my dad was unpacking the truck. While sitting down, she heard walking around the campsite, so she went and quietly told my dad she heard something or someone walking around. They noped the fuck out of there just in case. They drove about 3 miles down the road with their headlights off so they wouldn't be followed. Once they got there, they set up camp and began to drink their asses off while listening to a boxing match on the radio. My type of love. Now, they don't know for sure that this next event is connected to the first, but they believe it is. They settled in, and my dad was asleep far before my mom. My mom was in a halfway state where you're half awake, half asleep. Suddenly, she heard footsteps outside the tent. She abruptly snapped back to consciousness and listened. She tried waking my dad, but he was way too out of it. She listened for what seemed like hours when suddenly she hears in the creepiest voice you could probably ever imagine say, "Here I am. I'm going to kill you." While saying this, the man ran, what she believes to be a knife along the tent. She could hear him walking and dragging the knife. She was literally frozen. She couldn't say anything or move. With her mouth agape, she finally scraped out of it and screamed, "Jim, grab the shotgun and kill that son of a bitch." With that, my dad finally awoke. They heard snapping of twigs and footsteps and heard the guy running away. Of course, my parents didn't have a shotgun. It was a huge bluff that actually worked. My dad got up seconds later and began to run after him, but he was long gone. After that, my parents decided that they were going to get the fuck out of there before anything else happened. When they saw their tires were slashed or so later, a ranger that was patrolling the area came along and helped them out. He brought them back into town so they could get their tires fixed. While talking to the ranger, they found out that he had been searching for any suspicious activity due to recent murders nearby. My parents were likely the murderer's next victims. I tried finding some of the murder cases online, but was unable to. Okay, yeah. I'm joking the rest of this. Fuck it. Yeah. It's enough for me. No. The next story is called The Stranger Under My Bed. You know what? The title of this one reminded me that The Boogeyman is out in theaters right now. I need to go see it. And if you've seen it, let me know how it was in the comments. Like, give me a review without spoilers. Please and thank you. I am 22 and this incident happened a year and a half ago. I just moved into my first apartment and was in the process of moving in. The door that led into my apartment locks itself automatically when closed. So I was going to the entrance of the apartment complex to get my mail while talking on the phone with my boyfriend. I returned to the apartment and sat on the bed while opening the mail. While using the phone, I dropped the phone on the floor and it landed under the bed, so I had to lie on the floor and stretch for it. I saw something that caught my eye. There was something under my bed. My eyes widened and I choked the urge to scream. The person under my bed was lying still with his back towards me and his head to his chest, so I couldn't see his face, and he didn't see me. Trying to be rational, while so many thoughts rushed through my head, I picked up the phone and said, "Sorry, I dropped my phone. I'm just gonna take a shower and call you back." The bathroom is right by my bed, so I hastily walked in, quietly locked the door and turned the shower on. Jumped out my window, my apartment is on the first floor, and called the police. They told me to wait nearby, but to go across the street to see if anyone comes out the door to the apartment complex. This was during the summer and it was still light out. I placed myself across the street, hiding behind a car while watching my open bathroom window and the entry door. I called my boyfriend and he came to me just before the police. I gave them my keys and they went inside. Only moments later, two cops came out holding a thin and tired-looking man. His eyes looked crazy, but he didn't try to get away. The policeman that had stood beside me and comforted me while the police searched through my house. I was a mess and crying. Told me that the man stood outside my bathroom door with one of my kitchen knives waiting for me to come out. This man had somehow crept in my entry door while I was getting my mail and hid under my bed. The man that was trying to hurt me turned out to be a homeless person and was placed in a mental hospital. My boyfriend moved in with me the very next day. That's a real man right there. meters away but slowly came in closer, leaving the other children. Then he called out to me. I remember he had blonde hair and was smiling brightly. He asked me what my name was and how old I was. I answered, also filling him in on all the important details about my trip to the doctor that morning, emphasizing that I had been a very brave girl to impress him. My story seemed to amuse him, and he asked why I didn't come out and swim a little deeper. I explained that I wasn't allowed to go past my knees until my dad came back, because I couldn't swim very well and would get in trouble. He assured me that I couldn't possibly get into trouble if he was teaching me how to swim, and besides, my dad wouldn't see because he had gone. When I was still hesitant, he added, "Are you scared? I thought you were brave." He might as well said, "I triple dog dare you." Because, again, kids' frontal lobes are not developed. And in our minds, that means, wow, I gotta do it. So I followed him out until my feet couldn't touch the bottom, and he immediately held me under. I'm getting angry and upset just thinking about it. I struggled, but he was more than twice my age and my size. I realized now he had taken me out willingly so the other kids wouldn't know what he was up to. Drowning an unattended young child seems like the really perfect crime, because you could very easily pass it off as an accident. Probably only moments before I lost consciousness, the boy probably let go and my dad lifted me out the water. I can still see the look of bewilderment mixed with fear and rage on my dad's face. Then, for what seemed like a very long time, he patted my back while I screamed, sobbed, and coughed over his shoulder. By the time I had settled, my father, satisfied that I was okay, the boy and the other kids were long gone. Although my dad still went driving around looking for them. Had that kid stuck around, I'm quite certain my dad would have killed him. Edit. Just to answer a few questions, as far as I know, my dad never found out who the boy was, and shortly after this, we moved to towns. I don't think he ever went to the police, but I can't be certain. All I know is that he never told my mom about it, probably because she would have lost her shit at him for leaving me alone. Also, for those who asked, I really do feel that kid seriously meant to kill me. There was something malicious about the way he tightened his... Oh, I got chills. The way he tightened his hold when I struggled. It felt like he was determined and not mucking around. So determined, in fact, that he didn't even see my dad coming. So, creepy blonde kid, who is now an adult, let's not meet again. Somebody commented, "This reminds me of this young boy my brother used to hang out with. For a while they were friends and we didn't think anything of it, but suddenly the boy would come over and my brother wouldn't want to go play with him. Come to find out, the little creepy bastard had been trying to convince my brother to kill me and my father in our sleep, and then started saying he would do it. I didn't know what was happening to the boy, as I was young myself, but I know I didn't see him around anymore, and my brother certainly wasn't allowed to play with him ever again. That little kid was creepy as fuck." That's all I have for you guys tonight. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below, and if you have your own spooky, scary, unsettling story that you would like for me to read in a future video, email this email right here, which is also available in the description down below, as well as my social medias, if you want to give me a follow on there. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you guys more than you know. I'm about to go bake cinnamon rolls now. I'd share with you if you